Hey guys, it's Michael here from GRNDXAGENCY. We help independent musicians, producers, and record label owners attract, grow, and monetize their music careers using paid music marketing. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about what independent musicians and producers should be using instead of using Instagram advertising. Before we even step into that video, what I want you guys to do, if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and make sure that you turn the notifications on as well so you can keep up to date when we drop videos. So we're going to be planning to drop at least between 1 to 3 videos a week. So I hope you guys stay locked in and let's dive into this video. So one of the first questions you guys may have is, what is Instagram advertising? So I'm going to try and explain it as simple as possible. Firstly, you need to understand that Facebook owns Instagram advertising. So if you've noticed a lot of resemblances between the platforms over the last few years, it's because Facebook now owns Instagram and they've owned them for a few years. But I'm going to get onto Instagram advertising and explain simply what it is. Basically, Instagram advertising allows you to use your device to promote your content in front of a wider audience than you can using or relying on the organic algorithm on Instagram's platform. So they've created a way for you to be able to advertise your content in front of your desired audiences, and you do that through advertising. The way you're able to do that is either through boosting your post or promoting your post in more recent times. So if you click any of your most recent posts and you scroll to the bottom in the right hand corner, I believe you're going to be able to promote your post. Or sometimes you may see alerts at the top of your Instagram profile that ask you to boost your posts. So that's basically how you're able to get your content, whether it's a video or image or a carousel images, out to a wider audience of your desired interest. So when we talk about Instagram advertising, the way it is seen as, it's a plug and play option. The reason why I say that is because it allows you to simply just tap a few buttons and then pick your audience, pick your campaign objective, and quickly able to get your content out there in front of that audience that you want to get it out to. So there's no complications at all. In a click of a few buttons, you're able to get your message out there to the masses. And that's why we say it's a plug and play option. But the main thing here is you're able to spend your money as quick as possible. So that's something that you need to bear in mind. So what I'm going to be doing is breaking down some of the limitations of using Instagram advertising, and later on in this video also explaining what you should be doing if you're an indie musician or producer instead of using Instagram advertising. And the alternative that I give you, I'm also going to be explaining the benefits of using this method. So when we talk about the limitations of using Instagram advertising, one of the most prominent limitations is the fact that you only have 3 campaign objectives to choose from when you're trying to get your video or image out there. So you're only allowed to promote for people to visit your profile, promote for people to send you direct messages, or promote to drive traffic to your website. Those are only 3 options that you have available, which is highly limited in regards to what you can do when you're using the ad manager, where you have at least up to 11 options and campaign objectives that you can choose from, which means that depending on the different sort of end goals that you have set out, to put your music out there, being limited by 3 or having the option of having 11, which one would you choose? So that's one of the most prominent issues of using Instagram advertising, is the fact that you don't have a lot of campaign objectives that you can use and your options are very limited. Another huge issue as well is when it comes to targeting your desired audiences. When you're using Instagram advertising, unless you've already done your research beforehand, when it comes to you doing your interest targeting, which is basically selecting your ideal audiences that you want to put your content in front of, you can't do no real research. So if you're using the ad manager, what you're able to do is use the audience insights, which allows you to check on the psychographics and demographics, which breaks down the age, the location, their interests of your desired audience, so you can put in that quality research before you even start advertising your music out there. Whereas when you're using Instagram, advertising, you're not able to do that detailed research, and you're only limited to the options that you have on mind in regards to your target audiences. So unless you fully know your desired audiences and who you want to target beforehand, what you're going to be doing when you use Instagram advertising is a lot of guesswork. And that is something that is, liable to put you in a position where you're spending money and just throwing it away because you haven't done the target audience research, which is a real limitation of using Instagram advertising, instead of using the ad manager. A next limitation we can talk about is your budgeting. So when it comes to budgeting, there's how much you're spending on your overall campaign, but there's also considering how much it's costing you to deliver a certain result. And in regards to that, you're not able to do any sort of budget optimization. So if you're using an ad manager, you're allowed to do campaign budget optimization, which pretty much means that when you're running your ad campaigns, instead of focusing on one main campaign and spending all of your budget on that specific campaign, if it's not performing well, what the ad manager will do for you is spread that budget across different campaigns, and after a while find the one that is working the best and put more of the budget towards the one that is performing best. But if you're using Instagram advertising and you're running, let's say, 3 separate campaigns, your budget is going to all 3 of them, and it doesn't really matter whether your budget is doing well or poor. Another limitation as well is that you can't cap your budget. So for example, if your cost per result to get someone to visit your website using Instagram ads is costing you 50 pence or 60 cent, you're not able to cap that, at a maximum of £1 or $1. So that means the maximum you can bid against other people that are trying to reach that target audience is £1 or $1. But when it comes to using Instagram advertising, you don't have the luxury of doing that. So you can be paying over a certain amount to reach your desired audience, which is something you don't want to do. You want to be in total control of how much you're bidding against other people that are competing for your specific interest that you're trying to target. Because what you're really doing with these ad platforms is you're bidding against other people that are marketing to reach the same desired audience that you are. And based on all of the other factors, such as your ad copy, your actual ad, your image and video that you're putting there, your target audience, it's going to determine how much you're going to have to bid against the other people that are competing with you in the advertising market. But having a cost cap is something that is crucial, because it means you've set a limit of how much you're willing to bid against other people, and it means you can, really manage your budget efficiently. And if you're not able to do that using Instagram advertising, it puts you in, a poor position. Another huge limitation is not being able to select your ad placements. And what I mean by that is, when you're using Instagram advertising, what you're not able to do is, if you're advertising on Instagram and you want it to only show on the stories, you're not able to manually select that you only want it on the stories or you only want it on the newsfeed. That's one of the limitations of using Instagram advertising directly to push out your content. If you're using the ad manager, you have the option to do that. You can select what platforms you want it to be on. You can choose between whether you want it on Facebook or Instagram. You can choose what specific area that you want it to be advertised within the platforms, whether you want it on the news feed, whether you want it on a story, whether you want it on a sidebar, whether you want it displayed after, the in-stream videos, or whether you want it on the article sections. These are the options you have of ad placements, and you're limited when you're using Instagram advertising to promote your content out there, because you don't have the control of the ad platforms that you're able to display your content on. And also another limitation that we need to speak about is metrics. When we're talking about metrics, the 2 main ones we could be looking at is the cost per click, your click-through ratio. These are some of the things that you really want to be looking at. But let's say, for instance, you are running a campaign, a video view campaign, and you wanted to see how many people have watched 50% of your video, or you wanted to see, a specific metric of how this campaign is performing against the other campaign and compare their click-through ratios, so how many people have seen your ad and actually clicked on it. You're not able to do that. You're not able to have control over your metrics and customize your metrics, so they align with your end goals. And that's one of the huge limitations that you have using Instagram advertising. So as you can see, we're building a picture so that you start to understand that you're limited when it comes to the type of ad campaign objectives. You're not able to customize the metrics that you see, so it kind of limits the overall view that you have of your end goal. So you can't tweak it to your desire. When it comes to selecting the ad placements that you want your video or image to be displayed on, you don't have control on that. When it comes to using Instagram advertising, when it comes to setting your budget and having optimization so that you can, spend your budget more efficiently, you don't have control over that. These are just some of the few limitations you have when you're using Instagram advertising to push your music out there or production out there as an independent musician or producer. And this is why you heavily need to start considering alternative options such as the ad manager. What I'm going to do now is go into the ad manager and explain why you should be using this platform. What you should be understanding now is that instead of using Instagram advertising, you really should be using the ad manager. What is the ad manager? The ad manager is basically a platform that Facebook has provided for you, so you're able to advertise your content in front of the masses simultaneously on Facebook and Instagram. So what it allows you to do is put your content on their platform and target specific audiences around the globe in order to get your content out in front of them. So the reason why you should be using that is if you want to advertise your music on Facebook or Instagram, and it has multiple benefits that are far superior to using Instagram just to promote or boost your post. And I'm going to dive into some of the benefits of using the ad manager instead of using Instagram advertising to promote your content. As I stated previously, one of the limitations of using Instagram advertising is the fact you've only got 3 campaigns: direct message, directing traffic to your website, or getting people to go to your profile on Instagram. But when it comes to using the ad manager, you're sport for choices. You literally have up to 11 campaign options that you can use. I'm not going to go through all of these campaign options, but some of the main ones you want to focus on is video review campaigns, traffic campaigns, reach campaigns, brand awareness campaigns, conversion campaigns. These are all of the sort of campaigns that you can use in order to, test the different objectives that you may have. So conversion campaign, for example, if you had a website and you were selling merchandise, a way for you to increase your sales would be using a conversion campaign to find other people that are likely to purchase the merchandise that you're promoting. Traffic campaign is the same as on Instagram ads. It allows you to direct traffic to a specific location, whether it's your website, whether it's your Spotify channel, whether it's your YouTube channel, directing your traffic towards your desired location. And then video view campaigns is basically getting people that are guaranteed to watch a certain percentage of your video, such as 15% or more than that, in order to find out people that are likely to watch your content. And this is also tied into running, retargeting audiences and creating custom audiences, which we'll dive a little bit into later. But these are some of the advantages from the outset that you have using the ad manager. You're able to target 11 campaign objectives from the get-go, so you have a wide variety of options straight away. Another thing that you have the option of doing when it comes to using the ad manager is that you have the option of doing in-depth targeting. So I explained before, on Instagram, when you're targeting, you're limited because you don't have the prior knowledge or research unless you perform that days in advance. So what you're doing is a lot of guesswork. But when it comes to using the ad manager, you have the option of searching up the audience insights tool up to at least, I think it's 2.2 million data points that you can use to research your specific interests in advance. So you make sure when you're putting your money against targeting a certain audience, you've done your research beforehand, so you're more likely to get more favorable results instead of wasting your money and pouring it down the drain with guesswork that you would be doing using Instagram advertising. And we also talked about the budget as well. So when it comes to using the ad manager, you're able to do, cost capping. So it means you can set a limitation of how much you're going to be bidding against other people to reach a desired interest that you're targeting. So for instance, if it's costing you, a max of 60 pence in order for you to get a specific action, such as someone clicking the link to go to, your YouTube video, you can set a cap of maximum of £1 or $1 that you want to set, so that your bid for that specific action doesn't go beyond the $1 or £1 mark, which is something you're not able to do when you're using Instagram advertising. We previously talked about ad placements, being able to select whether it's on Instagram stories, whether it's on the newsfeed, whether it hits the explore page. When you're using the ad manager, you can pick between whether you want it on Facebook, in the news feed, or whether you want it on Instagram on the news feed, whether you want it on Facebook stories, Instagram stories, whether you want it on the sidebar, whether you want it to display when people are watching other in-stream videos. These are the options that you have. So you have the option to manually select where you want your ads to be placed, whether it's on Facebook and Instagram. And this is helpful because depending on your end goal, you're able to decide what placements correlate with your specific end goal as an indie musician or producer. And one of the best options you have as well when it comes to your metrics is I gave you the example before where I was explaining where on Instagram advertising you're not able to tweak your metrics in order to align with your end goal. So if you wanted to, see how many people are watching a specific percentage of your video in comparison to another ad that you're running, when it comes to using, the Instagram ad platform on your mobile, you're not able to do that. You're not able to draw up comparisons in terms of your metric columns and tweak them to customize them based on the end goals that you actually desire. This is something that you can do with the ad manager. You have the option to create your own custom columns of metrics that you want, so you can look at specific metrics that align to the end goal that you're desiring to achieve, which is a huge plus because it allows you to analyze what is working and what isn't working, and it allows you to see the insight of your data at a better level than it would if you were using Instagram advertising. Another advantage that you have using the ad manager is creating custom audiences, and this is where the magic lies. Using the Instagram platform to advertise on your mobile, you're not able to have the sophistication of looking at your social media posts that you put on Facebook and Instagram and collecting that data that they already have stored in order to create custom audiences. So creating custom audiences based on the people that have already interacted with your profile within the last 7 all the way to 365 days is something that you're able to do. So on Facebook, you're able to look at this data using the ad manager and create custom audiences based on people that have visited your website, based on people that have visited your social media profiles, whether that's your Instagram page, your Facebook page. And what you can do is create custom audiences, which is basically, audiences based on people's behaviors, whether they've clicked on a certain button, whether they've engaged with a certain post. You can create custom audiences so that you can retarget these people in the future because they're already interested. And this goes back to, the topic that I talked about on a previous video, which you can watch, where it explains about the different types of audiences that you have and the different levels that they reach. What you're able to do is create warm audiences, which basically just means you're able to reach people that have some familiarity with your brand. And that's what you do when you're using the ad manager that you're not able to do when you're using Instagram to promote your content. Another thing that we want to touch on again is the budget side of things. And I mentioned before that you're able to do campaign budget optimization, which basically means you're able to spread the money that you're spending across multiple campaigns instead of focusing just on one campaign that may be performing poorly. So on Instagram advertising, if you have one campaign and it's performing terrible, you're not able to set your CBO, which is your campaign budget optimization, which means if you're running at least 3 different campaigns and one is performing poorly, what the engine of Facebook will do is designate your budget towards the campaign that is performing the best, instead of just leaving money to rot away and spend quickly on a campaign that is giving you poor returns. So it works in your favor. And this is why you want to be using Facebook's ad manager instead of using Instagram's profile, is because it gives you the option of deciding where your money is going using budget optimization strategies. It allows you to create your custom audiences. It also allows you to create lookalike audiences, which is basically looking at the existing audiences that you have and creating a clone basically. So if you have a group of 1,000 people that have engaged with one of your recent posts on social media and you've got them in a custom audience, you can create a lookalike audience, which is creating a clone audience that is similar to your existing audience, so that you can find people with similar interests that are likely to be as engaged as your existing audience, of people that are already engaging with your content on social media through the custom audiences that you've created. If you want more details on custom audiences and lookalike audiences, comment below and let me know and I'll create a video on that. But this just goes to show some of the capabilities and benefits you have when you're using the ad manager over using the Instagram advertising platform just to advertise your content out there. You can see vastly that when you're using the ad manager, you have control over your metrics insights, you have control over the type of custom audiences that you can create, the lookalike audiences that you can create. You can control your budget in regards to cost capping. I also forgot to mention that you can do frequency capping as well, so deciding how many times your ad is shown to an individual user once you start putting it out there, which you can't do when you're using the Instagram advertising platform to advertise your content. you're also able to select, instead of 3 campaign objectives, you have up to 11, which means you have vast ways of reaching your audience depending on your specific end goal as an indie musician or producer. And these are just some of the options that you have that give you, a huge advantage. And this is the reason why I suggest that you start using the ad manager instead of using Instagram's advertising platform, which has a lot of limitations. So hopefully in this video you've been able to see some of the limitations of advertising your content, as an indie musician or producer using Instagram. And you've also been able to identify that the alternative you should be using is the ad manager, and why you should be using that, highlighting some of the benefits and advantages you have over using just Instagram to boost your post or to promote your page post. If you need help and support with this, what I advise you to do is check the description section of this video on YouTube, and you're going to see our free guide that walks you through exactly what the ad manager is in more detail, explaining the different traffic types that I touched on lightly when I was covering the custom audiences. But I advise you to go and get that guide. It's free, no charge at all, but it breaks down exactly what you should be doing as an independent musician or producer. And if you're looking to advertise your content in front of the masses, you need to be using the ad manager. And the easiest way for you to get started with that is getting our free guide, which is in the description. But as always, share this video with an indie musician or producer, so they have access to this knowledge, which is going to be highly beneficial to their journey moving forward. If you haven't dropped your thoughts in the comment section, make sure that you do that. Share your thoughts on what you've noticed when you were using, the Instagram platform to advertise, and when you switched over to using the ad manager instead. Talk about the differences between them and comment on some of the points that I've made about the advantages and limitations of using Instagram or using the ad manager, and share your thoughts with me. As always, I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Peace.